Well, guys,
Good morning.
back at it. Part two.
Yeah, so we got my mom's car all ripped the fuck apart. As you saw, we got the fucking old clutch ripped out, blah, blah, blah. Got the new clutch in last night. And then...
Now we got we've already mounted the tranny. That was the hard part. So look, I'm going to give you a couple steps of the rundown. So a lot of people try to cut corners on this. I try to cut corners. You want to do the least work as possible. All right. But understand there's some corners you just cannot cut. Okay. So for instance, there's a lot of things that you have to remove while doing this clutch job. Like for instance.
Hold on, let me flip this camera.
Yeah.
Woo!
For instance.
Cha-ching!
You have to remove the center cross member.
And
okay?
the axle.
The axle.
And the other incredibly hard to fuck with axle. And then you gotta have a hoist. 'Cause if you don't have this hoist, tell him, Nathan.
Good luck.
Yeah, you're gonna have a bad time. Yo, you better be big bear boys, and we're big bear boys.
Also, highly recommend. It's not needed, but I highly recommend a training jack.
Yep.
It does help for that extra leverage. If you don't got a training jack, a floor jack, a couple pieces of wood works just the same.
Yeah.
But just don't cut corners on this. Okay. So like for instance, your passenger your passenger axle. Okay. 9 times out of 10, you just get in there, pop it right out. Right. The celica is not like that. Okay. So there's actually a carrier bearing in the center that couplers the two together. All right. And that's actually bolted to your block. Okay. You have to remove that to be able to get that transaxle out. All right. And you can't just take them out, okay, of the block and everything. There's actually 2 of them that holds that carrier bearing. So I went ahead and just tried to take them out of the block and just left the carrier bearing hold. Yeah, didn't work. Fought with that bitch for like 20 minutes. Save your time. Take them out. Remove everything. Do the steps you need to do. And I'm telling you, it'll go so much simpler instead of fighting it and doing this and like, oh, I can just save time by not doing this or not doing that. No. Like actually take the time to do it because it's going to save you more time in the long run than trying to cut corners and getting frustrated and getting up and down and throwing tools. It all happens to us home mechanics. All right. So we've already got the new clutch installed. Z clutch installed. Took us about, I want to say a good half hour manipulating this transmission. You know, after getting it in, you got to get the angle right. You know, because while taking this off, while removing your center cross member, you're also removing your front motor mount, your back motor mount, and then also you have to remove your trans mount as well. So you need to understand that this thing is only being held up by a hoist and by the one engine mount over there. Okay, so your motor's leaning a bit. So you got to compensate for that. So you're gonna have to play with this. Get you a rope, get you a strap, get you a chain, whatever works. I mean, simple rope works just as good.
And take note too that he also had to unplug a whole host of different things that were down here, from temperature sensors to whatever else was down there. I mean, a whole bunch of stuff. He also needed to remove, like obviously your shifter linkages,
simple things like this,
and the shifter clips.
So like manufacturers and shit, they don't think about this shit. So even just as simple as pulling this bolt out right here, right from your motor mount, you can't even get it out because it's fucking. They put the
so we had to get the fill filter out of the way too.
It's a couple 10mm bolts. Move that out the way. Be able to slide it out. It happens. Now we've done got it made it up. I've only got a couple bolts in there. You know what I'm saying? I'm just about to sandwich it together. That's gonna be done. Otherwise, throw your starter back on. You know, put your shift linkages back in.
Get our cross members back in place. Get the axles back in.
So understand, when you do this, just do them in the reverse order that you do them in. Okay. So
and like us, we labeled everything in bags.
Super important to label your bags and bolts. That way you know exactly where everything's going. We've all been there. Pile of bolts on the fucking floor. Job's done. How many you got? You're like 4 or 5 bolts left and you're like, holy shit, well, I hope this don't fucking happen.
Yeah.
And then fucking toss them to the side. And then later on, like, when you go to work in the car, like, oh shit, that's where them bolts went. All right.
Or I needed that.
So, I really needed that.
Yeah.
How have I been driving without this? So, simple steps. Just do your steps in reverse. So now that I got the tranny back on, I'm gonna go ahead and cinch that back down and lock it in. All right. And then we got to go ahead and put the center cross member back in. Make sure your motor mounts back in. And just kind of do everything in reverse. Once you get all that stabilized, okay, and you get your mounts and stuff back in, then you go ahead and proceed with hooking your shifter links up, throwing your starter back in, hooking your slave cylinder back up, making sure everything's tight and ready to go, and then give it a start. So we're gonna pause this right here. It's a little hard to go ahead and record these videos and kind of do everything at once, you know. We'll see you in part 3 after everything's buttoned up and done and ready. All right, guys?
All right, everybody. We want you to know. Have a great day. And Nathan?
Hey, do what it do, baby.
Later.